Pacific Division, I have the standings turning out to be Lakers first again. The Warriors in second. Yes, I said Warriors. The Clippers in third, the Suns in fourth, the Kings in fifth. Now, it's kind of depressing that, the Suns, after making this big deal to get Chris Paul, are only going to be fourth. But let me roll it back real quick. The Kings I have in last. I think that it's probably like a widespread prediction for a lot of people that the Kings are going to come in last, because if you ask me, they added a little bit in the draft. They did get Halliburton to go, with De'Aaron Fox and their backcourt. They will have Bagley back, but the team is just like, De'Aaron Fox is an exciting player. It'll be interesting to see Halliburton. Bagley's an exciting player. Harrison Barnes is okay. But there's nothing to this team that's like, what about this team is going to make anybody believe that they're even a playoff contender? Especially when you're in a division with the Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, and now Suns that made that deal. So, I mean, more of the same for Sacramento. But the Suns, I think, are going to be one of the most interesting teams after the offseason they had. And not just the offseason, but watching them go 8-0 in the bubble, watching that tear that Devin Booker went on, then adding Chris Paul. Yes, they did get rid of Kelly Oubre, who was like a big part of their offense last year. But the starting five of, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and DeAndre Ayton, that's a pretty formidable starting five, especially in terms of defense on top of their offense. Because, okay, Devin Booker might not be the defender that everyone, wants, but Ayton's a solid interior defender. He could be better, but solid. Bridges, a very, very good wing defender. Paul, a good point guard, shooting guard defender. Cam Johnson, not terrible. So there's definitely some reason for excitement for this team. The offense speaks for itself. You have Devin Booker, one of the best offensive talents in the league. You have Chris Paul, a distributor as well as a scorer. Mikal Bridges, the 3-and-D type of player who will get you those big-time buckets. Still athletic enough, too, to dunk on people. Cam Johnson, another good shooter around them. And you got the inside threat in Ayton. There's a lot to be happy about for Phoenix. I think that Phoenix is going to have a big-time season. And it just sucks that they have to be in this division with so many other good teams. Otherwise, I feel like they'd probably finish maybe even second in one of the other divisions. Then I have the Clippers in third. Now, they still have Kawhi and Paul George. Paul George just got a lot of money. If you earn yourself a contract by playing that bad in their last series of the playoffs and then in Game 7, I feel like a lot of people should get paid. A lot of people should get a lot of money if that's what you got to do. But let me digress. He did increase his stats last season. He did have a good playoffs up until they went up 3-1. But I don't know. To me, I just feel like you have to get somebody other than Paul George to win a championship with the Clippers. Kawhi, I believe in. We had this whole, that whole drama thing of Kawhi gets special treatment and all this kind of stuff. The biggest thing there, I don't remember if I said this in the last episode or not, but the biggest thing there is that why is Paul George getting that special treatment? What did Paul George do? Kawhi Leonard at least has championships, finals MVPs, was in MVP races. Kawhi deserves all of the special treatment he gets. But what did Paul George do to deserve the special treatment? One MVP caliber season for the Pacers, and then the being in the MVP talks of last season. but still hasn't won anything, still hasn't won an MVP. You know, yes, he's a star player, but if we're talking who deserves this special treatment, Kawhi or Paul George, we all know it's definitely Kawhi a whole lot more than Paul George. So I think that's the bigger question. But the Clippers also lost JaMychal Green and Harrell. I mean, Harrell was their sixth man of the year, or runner-up, I forget, sixth man of the year. Lou Williams is still there. So you do still have a sixth man, but obviously Lou Williams is getting a little bit older. We don't know exactly what kind of consistency he's going to give you all the time. Oh, they also traded away Landry Shamet. So I don't know. There's just the Clippers team to me is pretty much the same, maybe a little bit not as good because they lost a couple solid contributors. So we'll see. Plus, new coach. Doc Rivers isn't there. You now have Tyronn Lue. I don't know. I just don't. I don't have as much confidence in them as I once had. I have the Warriors in second. They got James Wiseman. They got Kelly Oubre. Clay, unfortunately, going to miss another season with an injury. But the big thing to me about Golden State, with their down year last year, I think that they found their quality role players that they want to keep. People like Pascal. So the big thing to me is that you have Steph Curry coming back with revenge on his mind. You have Draymond Green still. You bring in a rookie big man that, is supposed to be one of the best rookie big men in a while. Kelly Oubre, who has taken big strides in his growth. Andrew Wiggins, who constantly gets crapped on by every critic and every fan at every turn that they get. I mean, look, if you have Steph Curry coming back to even close to his MVP caliber of play, the floor is going to open up a hell of a lot more for Oubre and Wiggins. I mean, that's part of the reason why Golden State was as good as they are, especially before Kevin Durant, with the way Steph Curry was playing, that opened up the floor for Clay and Dre. When it was with Kevin Durant opened up the floor for Steph and Clay. Sometimes Steph opened up the floor for KD and Clay. That's the whole thing around this team, is that they play such good team basketball, and each player is so good on offense that you have to pick your poison. And when it comes down to it, if Steph is playing like an MVP again, or even close to an MVP again, you're picking your poison as, okay, we probably should double team Steph Curry and let the other guys beat us, but those guys aren't any kind of slouches. I'm not a fan of Wiggins, but if you give him an open court, open shot, open, mid-range, whatever it is, he's going to hit it most likely. And now with Wiseman, I think that, you give someone that can, athletically get up and down the floor, that can do a plethora of different things on offense and defense, and someone that can help Dre out and not have to make Dre play defense against every big man ever in every game. That's a big time thing. And as I said, you found your really good role players on your bench to come in and, continue what they were doing last season. So I'm very high on Golden State. Probably higher than other people, but it is what it is. And then first, I have the Lakers. Again, I think this is another widespread prediction. It's LeBron. It's Anthony Davis. Some people think they could coast a little bit, especially in the beginning of the season, because someone like LeBron might take a little bit of rest with some games or whatever it may be. But in the end, I just see the Lakers still being the Lakers, especially with the fact that they added Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder. Like, okay, they lost Danny Green. They still have KCP. They did lose Dwight. And they also lost, I think they lost JaVale McGee too. But in the end, those guys are replaceable players. It's not like you're losing, you know, like in comparison, I don't think the Clippers are really going to be able to replace Harrell, especially after the first year. And now the Lakers have the sixth man of the year and the runner up for sixth man of the year. Schroeder will probably start. And then you have Harrell coming in right after Anthony Davis and LeBron, sometimes on the floor with both of them, sometimes having a lineup of like Schroeder, LeBron, KCP, Harrell, and Anthony Davis. What? That is a crazy lineup. And I just think the Lakers are really going to take first in that division. I don't think it's going to be really all that difficult either.